One quickie, completely changing it. I had to get my car serviced. Meant I had a couple of hours to kill because they do it while you wait. I was in Walthamstow. I started wandering around and I found this sort of pound store, for want of a better word. Best shop in the world. Loved it. They had so much
Dave.
cheap tat that I could have bought everything. I loved it all. Now my windows are slightly high. If you're watching the video of this, you can see just where my thumb is. There's a window handle. I can reach it, but it's always a stretch. In this shop, can you see that little stool?
Oh, a little stool, little orangey coloured plastic stool.
I call it peach.
Pete,
Um, it, it's about 10 centimeters, 4 inches, and I mean all the colors were hideous. They didn't have anything that was attractive, so I thought if you're going to go bad, go full on. I bought them. There's one in my bedroom, one in here in my living room. Oh man, it's the best thing ever.
and the cost?
You know what, I'd have paid 50 quid each. I think they were 1.99. It might have been more than a quid. But I bought so much other tat, I can't actually remember. I bought 2 bags full. It was 16 quid, the whole lot. So oh, it's fabulous. Short people do not deny.
So
Get
this you've got proper footstools that
Yeah,
you
yeah, yeah.
in your kitchen, and they get you up to quite a height. What are these things for? Just so it's a step up onto something.
That's the point. These are very small. It's a
Right.
tiny little rise. Your regular IKEA footstools that lots of people have, a kickabout stool, and they've got various heights. Yeah, but this one is just enough because it was made the window. If the window ever got stuck, I didn't have the leverage to pull back because I was right at full stretch. Now I've got this extra few inches, few centimeters. I can pull it open.
Did it have a label hanging on it saying, if you want to prevent hernias, buy this?
My hernia, my mum said I will not get another hernia because I have a hoist for my scooter in my car. And I'm convinced I got my hernias from lifting up various parts of my 30-kilo scooter. Uh,
Yeah.
but
She,
yeah, this,
your mum's always right. She's always right.
yeah, she's less happy with a peach footstool, I tell you. But
I think it's brilliant. So it wasn't a proper pound shop. It was just a shop that was selling.
it was just the best shop ever. Aisles of stuff. They kept it clear, so if you're a wheelchair user, there's no loads of stuff in the way. It had more weird stuff, but
Can you give us an example of what else was in the bags that you came home with, the 16 quid's worth?
um, that's a great question, and that is the other problem. It's a bit like the IKEA run. I can't remember what I bought. Things that you think will be really useful, then you don't actually quite use. What else did I buy? I bought the 2 stools. The things they had were tray, where you put your knives and forks. They'd have lots of different plastic.
Yes, yeah, drawer inserts.
Oh, I bought 7 Tupperware plastic containers because I've always had a mishmash. None of them fit. Now I have a really good set, and they all fit in with each other.
Mm-hmm.
My fresh fruit is lasting for days now. And my leftovers are fresh and happy. So I bought a ton of them. I don't know what else. I mean, the shop is just a bit strange, but I loved it. And also, you don't know what the name of the shop is. And then you look at your credit card bill and it's got some weird name of a shop. I think it was Everything for You. And that was based in Portsmouth. And you're like, what is going on? It's like a shell company or something. But
Perhaps there's been a lot of talk, hasn't there? Very topically talk about John Lewis and losses and shops shutting and stores closing. This place could take over our high street.
uh, so here, okay, we're going into this quite a lot now. I left the garage. I went into Pret a Manger and they gave me a free coffee based on short person on a mobility scooter, I suspect. Straight away, just, oh, you have it for free. Yeah.
Charity model.
And I thought, I love that. And I said, I actually want a bag of coffee as well. He said, I can't give you that for free. And I went, no, I didn't even want the coffee for free. It's you made the rules up. And then I had my free coffee. I found this shop. After this pound shop that had everything, I went to Lidl because I don't have a Lidl locally.
Had a really upmarket day.
Lidl and Asda. Oh, man. It's the best day shopping I've ever had.
Or you're up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was nerves, wasn't it? It was nerves, anxiety.
The other bit is because I didn't take, when I go shopping regularly for food, I take my bags. I had no intention of doing this, so I had to buy bags as I went along. But my scooter had 3 big laundry bags full of stuff. Um, I mean,
You know what my mum used to do? She had a Harrods bag,
nice.
just one Harrods bag, very posh. And she used to go into the pound shop with it, fill it up like you did with her stalls and her
Yeah.
inserts or whatever. And then she'd come out carrying her Harrods bag because she was so ashamed of going into the pound shop. They used to do really good deals. I mean, everything for £1, wasn't it? It's still around, of course.
I bought pancake mix, 2 sets of pancake mix. I don't know why, but that was £1 each. They had bags of Yorkie pieces, so little chunks of chocolate, individual chunks. I bought a bag of that. Thought that'd be helpful. Um, oh
You've
man,
got to put a link or a photo or something of this place. The listeners can't wait. They're queuing.
you know what it is? There's all those handy little things that you need if you have a house. But
Yeah.
America does this way much better than us. You go to a Walmart or Target and they've got them all. But I don't think the UK, we're not really good at lots of handy, cheap stuff. Well, maybe we are, I just don't go there. But this had it. And I look on Amazon, I look on eBay, I look online. I can never quite get the right stuff. But this shop, when I paid for it, I said to the person, I said, this is the best shop I've been in quite some time. And they blushed. And I went, no, but you have everything and you've kept it clear. So, yeah.
Well, I'm impressed. You must tell me more about this place. I must go and visit it.
Um, we have some proper subjects, and let's kick off with one that both of us spotted, but you have mentioned it specifically. This is about being an astronaut.
Yeah, and it started off as a joke, really. I saw, like I'm sure lots of other people did, the European Space Agency are now looking for disabled astronauts, and they mention specifically people with lower limb issues or missing lower limbs, amputations, or small people, short people. And of course, I thought of you immediately. And then my mind went all over the place as I imagined Simon Minty in a capsule singing sort of Bowie-esque songs and, and all that kind of stuff. And then when I got over what was a joke, I began to think more seriously about it. And the idea that what would be, I do remember, do you remember Stephen Hawking's? Did 2 things that I remember being impressed by. One was he went weightless in the back of a jet. He was taken up, you know, the astronaut training, apparently they take them up in jumbos or whatever it is, and they simulate no gravity.
Just to say, obviously, I'm on the program. I've done this already, but yeah, carry on.
Oh, okay. Well, you kept that very quiet. I didn't know. Anyway, Stephen Hawking was filmed doing that. And I remember thinking to myself, this guy's tetraplegic. He's got, he can't move anything. And there he is floating. And I wonder what that must have felt like for him. And then, of course, he featured in the British Telecom adverts. In his powered chair going through space with his voice selling communication stuff. It's a brilliant idea by BT. Anyway, I then began to think quite seriously about what would be the disadvantages or advantages of a disabled astronaut, because obviously a small person, there's not a lot of room in these things. So that would be a massive advantage. You're laughing, but I'm being serious. You take up less room. So that would help. But floating and that kind of thing, I didn't see that as a disadvantage for disabled people in any way, shape or form. And I wondered why the lower leg amputations seem to be. Is that, again, a space saver? If you'll pardon the pun. I mean, on the serious side, equality, recruiting from as diverse a population as possible. They made it absolutely clear, of course they did, that if you were going to be an astronaut, you had to satisfy all sorts of other criteria, particularly science and stuff like that, have backgrounds in sort of physics or chemistry or whatever. So it's not just, excuse me, I'm small, can I join your program, please? What was your take on it?
I like the fact that it is all about saving space, saving space in space. I don't forget I'd need peach step stools all dotted around.
You wouldn't. You could just
I know.
float.
Uh, okay, let's jump back a bit. Why are they doing this? Why is it such a? It was a very specific, targeted advert
It was.
mentioning limb. I think they used the word deficiency, and they
Yeah.
even used the word restricted growth, which is a kind of real classical term for people like me.
I think what I read into the articles I saw about this, there was an interesting angle where they said that the European taxpayer is paying for this program. So therefore, we should, give as much opportunity to disabled people like anybody else, women. There's only one woman astronaut on this program. So they seem to be concerned about having a more diverse recruitment program, which is to be admired, to be applauded. But yeah.
There's the brilliant show called The Simpsons preempts everything that ever happens in history because they preempted Trump becoming president. Just this week, they had an episode called Deep Space Homer. And NASA, obviously in the States, said, we realize no one cares about space anymore. It's because when we look at every astronaut, they are a white male who's a mathematician. That's all they are. And so the public have lost interest in the space. So we're going to go out and get the common man or woman to be the next astronaut. Of course, this means Homer and Barney, who's the one who always drinks and burps. The really funny bit they do, they get them both in the bar and they both say, yeah, we'd love to do it. And then they whack them over the head with a, what's it called, that cudgel, or when they used to press gang people.
Yes, a club, basically, a truncheon or something like that.
This guy whacks them both over the head, and the other guy looks at him from NASA and goes, why'd you hit them? They both agreed to come. And he said, I know, but I think we have to do that anyway. So whenever they agree to do anything, they just smack them over the head. And the point was they are justifying themselves, a bit like the European Space Agency. If we're the taxpayers funding this, is this a way of getting interest again? I love the fact
that may, there may be. I think I like the idea that we're all paying for this. So why should it just be restricted to white, allegedly, I don't know, heterosexual males from a certain group? I don't know.
the diversity will be limited in that, as you say, you're going to have quite a few qualifications popping out your ears because you need this knowledge and this skill.
I've got mine can play amazing games with it. I haven't seen it posted in Job Centre Plus. Have you? This astronauts require deep space.
So, but I tweeted and said I couldn't work out why I'd been invited to have my COVID vaccination. But then I saw this job ad and I thought, oh, they're getting me ready. That's what's happening. And so I am a little bit humorous with it too, but I am flipping it round. And without sounding twee and romantic, if I was a 14-year-old person who had restricted growth and I love space, always thought one day I'd love to be an astronaut, but I've never thought about it, never seen anyone, couldn't believe it. And suddenly they're specifically mentioning they are interested in people like me. Does that make me think, well, okay, I could do this and I just need to get the right qualifications? That is remarkable.
Yeah, I think if you've got the brains, the ability to master the intellectual requirements or academic requirements that would be required of an astronaut to carry out experiments in space and so on, and you were that 15, 16, 17-year-old who was doing physics and maths and thinking about university and stuff, why, that would be an interesting way of proceeding, wouldn't it?
Do you think there's any advantage besides your space saving on board? Is there any advantage of the disability bit? So this isn't just a proactive, we welcome everyone. There is a specific advantage as well.
I think I can't think of anything off the top of my head that would be an advantage other than my flippant comment, which about being small, for example. There would be less, you take up less room. And I don't mean that in a jokey way. I just mean...
When I used to do the training for the social model and I want to change the world in my image, I always get aeroplanes, trains, cars. They're all smaller for me because environmentally they're sound. And now it's happening.
It's for real. But I can't think of any other. I mean, please help us. If anybody knows, come up with some cunning reasons
Well,
why being disabled in space is an advantage. That's because
let's
that's the thing.
let's use the cliche, which is some truth in it. As disabled people, we're resourceful. We find different ways of doing things because that's what we've always had to do. Maybe they're going to make an inaccessible spaceship, so we've got to learn how to remove those barriers while we're up there. Um, I believe I mean, obviously, pain wouldn't be an issue in the sense of mobility pain because we're just floating all the time. That would be great.
Yeah,
And
no, it
I
would be.
understand you get a couple of inches taller when you're in space because no longer does gravity pull you down. As soon as you come back, within a week, you've gone back to your regular height. So maybe this is a way of making short people taller for a
Yeah,
bit.
but it saves on surgery.
Yeah, I'll
It
give it
could
a
be, and it could be to try and save money for the NHS, perhaps.
um. Bring the Simpsons. Obviously, Homer. The three of them get into whatever orbit, and he says, "Hey, look, I've sneaked up a bag of crisps," and he opens this bag of chips, and they float everywhere. And the other two are furious with him, really furious with him. And then he floats around eating the crisps until he hits the ant colony that was taken up to see if they could survive. And then all these ants are floating around. I mean, it's joyous. You've reminded me in the show, Buzz Aldrin is one of the guest stars who goes into space with Homer. I also found some old footage from the BBC archive that was tweeted with Buzz Aldrin talking about getting depression. And I think this is maybe 80s. And I really love the way he said it because it's the early days of depression, of a kind of a move from a medical to a reality thing. His language is really smart, and the way he says it was, I just couldn't get out of bed. I lost interest. It was and he talks about it so beautifully and so naturally. I was quite struck by that.
I mean, for those early, they were, I mean, pioneers, the word, isn't it? What is there to do after you've been in space or been around the moon or been on the moon, for example? What does ordinary life feel like? I guess it's like for so many people, like professional footballers, for example, when they have to stop playing, or racing drivers, or people that. I've just thought of something, by the way, which is that would there have to be adjustments? There would, wouldn't there? There'd have to be adjustments.
Go
Would
on.
the act cover? Because it's a manufactured goods, isn't it? A spaceship. So I'm just wondering if there's any legal angles that we could use to get the spaceship made accessible. So I could go. Why just small people? What? I've got both my legs, so I'm excluded, am I? This is outrageous.
Listen, inclusion can only so far. We would get made to measure spacesuits, which would be cool.
That would be very cool.
Yeah,
I'd like one of those.
um, we will watch the space. I love the idea that in 20 years' time we're going to have a person of restricted growth going up in space. They played it with a straight bat, as they said. There wasn't. They knew this could be a bit weird, but also I didn't. I saw lots of fun jokes, but I didn't see anyone be really nasty or dismissive on this. Maybe I'm mixed with a different crowd, but I can imagine a newspaper ripping this in, going, "This is our money," and what a joke. I didn't actually see that.
No, because I think they'd have lasted 10 minutes, because I think what the ESA, European Space Agency, did make clear, which we've talked about, was the fact that we all pay our taxes. This is part of we own this thing.
And
Why shouldn't we be part of the program in some way or other?
And they're not sending Homer Simpson up. They're sending someone who's qualified to go
Of
up there.
course, of course. And it does offer opportunities, I'm guessing, that whilst the astronaut group is an elite, very elite, there are very few of them, there are thousands of people connected to the program itself, and that offers opportunities for disabled people to contribute perhaps in those other ways, although that's not specifically mentioned. But going back to your 14-year-old small person doing GCSEs and stuff, ending up as part of an elite group in a space program would be fantastic.
Do you think the fact that Finkelstein's model of an island of wheelchair users being
Yeah.
utopia, are all disabled going to people living on Mars in the
Well,
future?
that could be, you see, if you want to think malevolent thoughts, you could disable the planet Earth, couldn't you? Ship them all out to Mars or somewhere, and we live alone.
This
In
is
the universe, it's dark.
serious how they do
This
it.
is very, very dark.
They make out they're giving us a break, but oh no, 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 we see where this is going.
This is very nasty.
Um, well done, European Space Agency. We like it, even though we can see
We
what
do.
your long-term plan is. You dodgy, what's it?